Is this live?
They got him! They
All
got
right.
James Hagens! There it is! The Bruins have selected James freaking Hagens. I can't believe it. I cannot freaking believe it. They got him. They got Hagens.
Yep. What you got is, a potential first overall pick at number 7. Ton of talent. What I really appreciate about his game is that he's produced everywhere he's been. And
I can't. This is insane. I'm so excited. I'm not a fan. It's objective, but this is exactly what they need. A high skill centerman. Like, this is crazy. They got Hagens.
Yeah. Production matters. Production matters. 22 points at U18, crazy. 9 points at World Juniors on a gold medal winning team. Yes, it was a point a game at NCAA hockey, right? Like, not what you expect, but he was 17. He's 17 years old, playing one of the younger players in NCAA hockey, and like college hockey is not easy, right? Like, you just have become accustomed to Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and those type of players having the years that they did. But I think you're right. Like, he goes back next year, he dominates, and is going to have some sort of impact at the end of next year for the Bruins. But you needed talent, you got talent, you did the right thing. Is he a number one center? I think
the comp with him growing up was always Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
It was always, but then it was also like Clayton Keller's a mention. Like,
yeah.
To me,
Logan Cooley's been a mention, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, William Nylander's another if he's a winger. I love this. I love this. I mean, this is what they needed. This is what they've needed. A high-end, high-skill, a guy that can, make guys around him better, that can make plays happen. Like, this is who you want. Like, you got, and Carl, I think you can agree with me. This is the best value you could get. And now he's talking to Cam Neely and Don Sweeney and Marco Sturm on the thing. The poor kid talking to the screen. But, like, this is the best case scenario. I think for 7, you got screwed by the ping pong balls. And all along, like you and I talked about, like, Hagens is in the top 5 of these prospects. And when you fell to 7, it was like, you're not getting him. You're not getting Frendel at the time. Like, you're not getting Desnoyers.
Yep.
Now you're getting Hagens. Hagens fell to you at 7. Like,
obviously they're comfortable with him. They've seen him. I would imagine the Bruins have seen him play quite a bit.
Like, they got him.
And they got him. Yeah.
Like, that's, like a team that's so devoid of talent and prospects and everything. And he doesn't fix every need, obviously.
No.
But he checks a lot of boxes. And I know he's not huge. Like, I was talking to someone the other day who knows what they're talking about when it comes to hockey. And they were like, I'd steer clear of him. He's Will Smith light. I don't think that I don't agree. Like,
what does Will Smith light mean?
I mean, like, not like a lesser version of Will Smith. Like, I just disagree with that. I think James Hagens is fantastic. AMGM, Connor got it right, but guess who also got it right? I also got it right too. So there we go.
Congratulations, Evan.
Yeah, I picked it accidentally in October.
Did you? Okay.
Essentially, yes. But I have the clip. I can't tweet it out because I have the stream on my phone, and then I have I should tweet it out. Screw the stream. I'll tweet it out now. I have the clip. I can't believe it. That's so funny.
This is an interesting question by DJ Chips, right? Like, is that you make the pick and you still hold cards with Islanders if that's something that they want?
You could. It'd be hilarious if they traded him. If they turned around and traded him now, it's like, we're cutting the stream off. Like, pretend I didn't react that way, all that.
Hagen's ceiling is Charlie Coyle level? Like, that's...
No.
Not even in the same... I think as far as pure skill skating, 2 completely different players. Yeah, like, I do think, like, if he's your third line center, you're in a good position because you're probably competing. This broadcast would be better if it was from La Cantina, no doubt.
I agree.
Yeah, they've got the outside tent now. They've got live music. I don't know if there's live music just for everyone. I'm in Framingham. Evan is not. We have fireworks tonight. So at about 9:00, there are fireworks here in Framingham. And Evan, this is the first night that pizza night at the Corazzini's has been interrupted by some.
Well, it's worth it for this.
Yeah.
It's worth it for this. I mean, again, like I said this before they drafted him, for people who are in for the first time now, there's a chance he comes in at the end of next year, and you don't rush it. Do not rush this. Like, there's no rush, but like he could come in next year, at the end of next year, after his sophomore season ends. And that's what, be very afraid. You don't want to have a lot of pressure on him, but there is pressure on him. I think that's the thing where, like, you're drafted 7th. That pick is sort of looked at as like a franchise savior, whether or not that's right. And that's what he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. Like, it's just the nature.
Yeah. What would be more pressure for him? Right. Like, if the Islanders made a trade, right? Like, if you gave up either a prospect or a rostered NHL player and these 2 picks to go home, there'd be huge expectations of James Hagens there as well. I think this is a place that he's comfortable with. There certainly will be pressure in the sense that this is an original 6 team, but I don't think anyone sees this as a Connor McDavid. Then he's going to completely transform what the Boston Bruins are. He's a very good player that plays with a ton of skill, a ton of pace. Gonna make the Bruins better, but it's not an overnight Stanley Cup contender. That
no, God no,
right?
God no. But what you hope, like, okay, let's play this game, right?
Yep.
Like, Elias Lindholm is signed up for how much longer? Let me look. He's signed through 2029-30, and David Pasternak's also signed through 2029-30. And my hope is that James Hagens is up here by 2029-30. At any rate, you hope that someday Hagens can center Pasternak. Like DJ Chips just said it, Hagens to Pasta. Like, that's what you hope.
Hey, but not Glenn. You're right. BC did not win the Beanpot this year.
Yeah, you love to say that. I have no dog in the Beanpot fight. I don't care who wins. I don't care.
UMass is not in the Beanpot, eh?
Beanpot. I grew up. Beanpot meant nothing to me.
What?
Nothing. My parents didn't go to Beanpot schools. My dad went to St. Lawrence. My mom went to Fisher. I went to UMass. My sister goes to St. A's. There's no nothing pushing me to any Beanpot school.
I mean, I was 19 Paxton Road. Growing up,
you always dox yourself on here. It's so not where you live now, but where you grew up. I won't tell you where I live now, but 19 Paxton Road off of Central Street, right behind Framingham High School. And we used to have this hook as you walked out our door, and it for your hats. And I had a BC, BU, and Harvard one, and every day I'd put on a different one, and it was like I would play imaginary Beanpot games all day, every day. Like, do your homework from St. Tarcisius, run outside, get someone to play goalie for you, and just win Beanpots. That was it. That was the only thing I thought about. I didn't think about the Bruins. Just I wanted to play in the Beanpot. That was it. We have the clip, by the way, from October. You've never seen this. Here it is. This is us predicting James Hagens to the Bruins. Let's see if this works.
This draft. So if San Jose were to get the number 1 pick, they'd have Hagens, Smith, and Celebrini. Those are all number 1 centers, or projected number 1 centers in the NHL. You cannot have one of those 3 guys be on your third line. Right. So again, you'd essentially be trading potentially James Hagens for Jeremy Swayman. And again, for those who don't know, James Hagens is, barring something crazy, is going to be the number 1 pick next June.
Would you
Most
trade?
likely.
Would you trade if the Bruins get Swayman on a 1-year deal and they intend to trade him next year? Would you trade Jeremy Swayman for Jimmy Hagens?
Straight up?
Yes. It's like
Yes.
San Jose has the number 1 pick and they draft him and they swap him for Swayman.
Yeah.
You would do that
On a 1-year Swayman on a 1-year deal?
Yeah. With the
And
expectation
things
that
have gotten bad, and things have gotten that bad.
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would. Maybe that's naive of me. Maybe that's the New England Hockey Journal in me. Maybe that's but I'm serious. Like, that kid is that's your future number 1 center. That is your guy. Like, that is everyone questions Lindholm being a number 1 center, Patra being a top 6 center, Letourneau, that whole situation. Hagens is a number 1 center in the NHL. Whether that's in 2 years, 3 years, like, he is legit. And I mean, I think that's Jack Hughes. So to me, yes. Yeah.
So that was October.
So do you believe that? Do you believe, like, I mean, that's a gift. If you think he's a 75 to 85 point guy.
Well, again, I go back to, like, that was October. That was pre-BC. So things have changed since then. I still look at him as number 1 center. Like, I do. I do. He has that upside. He has that playmaking ability. Now, this is getting deep into the weeds, but, is he going to go, how's he going to match up in the playoffs? He is under 6 feet. How is he going to match up with Alexander Barkov in the playoffs or Austin Matthews in the playoffs? That's all, like, very legitimate. But what was your other way to get a number 1 center? Like, you tried free agency last year. Maybe Lindholm boosts his production this year. That's absolutely possible. He had a good end of the year. He had a good Worlds a couple months ago. Like, that's all great, but, like, this was the way you were gonna do it, and they did it. Like, they did it. They didn't overthink this pick. You're gonna hear a lot of people on TV, particularly one Michael Felger, who is gonna rip this pick apart, say it's them staying local, that it's bad, that he's small, that he's not, can't be physical, all these different things. They got their guy. This is the pick. Like, and again, like Seattle just took Jake O'Brien, and you look at who's on the board, right? Like, let's say Hagens doesn't pan out.
Yep.
Are we going to look back and say, like, and obviously hindsight's 2020. We're going to go back and say, if Jake O'Brien has a phenomenal career, oh my God, you didn't take Jake O'Brien. Oh my God, you didn't take Roger McQueen if he has a phenomenal career. But what I would also say is, like, James Hagens, I think widely was looked at as the best player available at 7, and they took the best player available.
Yeah.
Like, that's not nothing. That's not.
No,
nothing.
I think that part of it you're excited about, right? Like, in the sense that the best player on the board was available and you took him. It's not something typically, right? Like, I think we've become accustomed at least with the Patriots, you've been accustomed, like, there's value and they trade back and right, like, in 4 years you've had, what is it, 78 games out of your draft picks, right? Like, that's not a great record. And to go out and get a player that at the floor, I think is a second line center. I think that's pretty good. I think that's really good. No, I take that back. I think that's really good. You took the best player available.
I mean, as you just said, the floor is, a second line center, or he moves to wing and he's a second line left wing. And the absolute ceiling is he's your franchise number 1 center. Like, he has those qualities. Again, Carl, like, we talked about this before the season, or I think we did. We must have. Coming out of the national program, like, if he was drafted straight out of the national program last year, he's probably what? I mean, who was one last year? Celebrini. So he's like what? He's definitely in the top 5, right? Like, if this happened last year and he didn't have it, because again, I had a college coach tell me recently, and it's a very good point. College hockey is the great equalizer. College hockey allows you, when you're drafting a kid, to see the weaknesses because they're playing against older, stronger guys, right? Like, nothing against the OHL. But when you're going up against guys who are 24 years old from UMass Lowell, are they as good as you? No. But Carl, you played college hockey, played for freaking BU. They'll take your head off. They'll kill you. Like, these are guys who are physical, and, like, that you get to see weaknesses, and the weaknesses for Hagens are, getting to high danger ice at times. You can be a little perimeter. I remember at the Beanpot, I didn't notice him a heck of a lot, which is a red flag. for that time. But again, that moves you out of number 1. But if you can get that kid at 7, by God, you take that kid at 7. That's what I think.
No, I think you have to. First of all, I can't believe we've gone this long. Jack Parker, Hockey Hall of Fame.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah,
that was your coach. That was your coach.
Huge for him. Like, you look at the players and the coaches that he's mentored. Congratulations to Coach Parker. Yeah, college hockey, as I've said a few times, is not easy, right? Like, and the expectation that you're going to get the Jack Eichels and the Macklin Celebrinis that come in and put up 72 points as freshmen, like, that's rare. And to have had the impact on his team, right, and to get him at 7, and I keep going back to it, right? Like, you look at the draft from last year. It was the defenseman from Michigan State. I don't know how to say his last name. And then
I remember him.
Then it was Seneke, right? So he's probably in the top 3 if he just comes out of the national. So what you're asking, he just comes out of the national program where he put up 122 points or something along those lines, 115 points, and then he puts up 22 points at U18. He's probably in the top 3 last year, right? Like,
yeah.
Seneke, if you remember, right? Like, Seneke was a guy, he gets drafted 3rd overall. He's like, what? Like, I was drafted 3rd overall? Like, that moment from last year's draft. So, yeah, I think this is as good as you could have, as good as you could have asked for.
Yeah, this is the best case scenario. Buffalo just took Radim Murtka, so McQueen's still on the board. I initially, my mock draft, I had Anaheim taking McQueen, so I would assume McQueen goes to 10, but I don't know, maybe the back thing makes him slide more. One other thing I want to circle back on, and this will go out as its own separate episode for people listening. We're not gonna put it out on audio and stuff, just the part where they took Hagens and after. So maybe this happened, maybe it didn't by the time you're listening or you're watching. But would you be you mentioned this when Hagens first got drafted? You think the Islanders are still maybe trying to beat down the doors to make a trade, or no? You think that ship has sailed?
Well, I think as the Bruins, you control the situation, right? Like, you have the player. Right, like, and I have no idea how it works at that level, right? Like, if the owner gets involved, and right, like you said, Saravelli said that the owner would agree to any deal. Is that what you said earlier?
That's what I saw. Yeah, that's what I saw.
So I think they're still going to at least have conversations. I don't think that it's. I don't know. I don't think it's a done deal at this point. I love the player, love having skill and some speed and, more than anything, hockey IQ. But if you can make the Bruins a better roster by moving Hagens, then you have to explore all options at all times. Like, I think that conversation will be open for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that. I don't think they trade him. I think the Bruins realize they got lucky. They got lucky. They lucked out. I mean, they got completely lucked out. Like, I'm fine with keeping Hagens. Like, what's up, Court? I see Court in the comments. Hey, Court. Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm not excited. I'm excited about the player, but like, you're in that role as general manager. You're controlling. In both instances, right? Like, Islanders and Bruins. Like, Bruins an original 6, and Islanders that won 4 Stanley Cups in a row, right? Your job is to always explore how to make your roster as good as you can, and at least from that relationship from Islanders and the Boston Bruins, the Bruins have the player, and I would imagine that they would be open to hearing how they can make their team better.
Yeah, I mean, that absolutely could be the case. Sorry, I was tweeting something. So
no, yeah, DJ Chips. I'm excited about the player. I
keep him.
I would imagine they keep him. Like, they weren't able to work something out here before the draft, or at the deadline, the 5-minute time limit there, right? Like, what was that like? Like, you don't think the player is going to be there at 7, And then there's the option, like, what do those phone calls look like? Like how fast you get on the phone and
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again,
interesting time. Like, is the behind the Bruin there or behind the B? Is that what it is? Behind the B on Nesson? Like, get me on that. I want to see what that.
Someone just said, funny tweet. The Bruins internet was down and they were on auto draft. That would be the auto pick. You're right. I am curious to see the behind the B of it. I know they liked Hagens. Like, I just don't think they assumed he was going to be there. And we've seen them tied to him a little bit, but I just, for the last couple months, I never, like, up until the last week, I never would have ever thought James Hagens would be available at number 7. I just wouldn't have. Like, what? Like, you know, and again, like, people I think are going to see this and go, oh my God, why did he fall? Why did he fall? Well, he fell because he didn't have the season at BC that Will Smith had the year before, or that Macklin Celebrini had at BU the year before, or that Adam Fantilli had at Michigan 2 years before. And like, that's all valid. And like, I can't say it enough. Like, there are weaknesses there, and they were exposed as a freshman. But I will also say this. That doesn't mean you don't pick him at 7. Like, 7 is an incredible value spot to get. And I'll say this, Carl. I was at UMass when Cale Makar was there, and I'm not comparing them. But Cale Makar came in as the 4th overall pick by the Avalanche. His freshman year, he was good, but he wasn't a world beater. He was good. Like, I think if you look back at his numbers, they were fine. And Colorado wanted him to go to UMass, to come out, to go to the Avs. But to Cale's credit, he was like, no, I'm staying at UMass. Cale stayed at UMass and had one of the best seasons ever. Like, Hobie Baker led them to a national championship game appearance, like, phenomenal. And that second year made all the difference for his career. I would not be shocked if James Hagens has a similar impact on BC in his second year. And suddenly we're sitting here going, holy crap, like, he can jump in and make an immediate impact, because all it took was that second year and it clicks. And I know people say, oh, he played with Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard this past year. And I get that, but he was still a late 06. He's still a late 06. He showed up to college as a 17-year-old. So, again, like, and I'll say this, if James, and I've been fair on Letourneau all year. Like, Dean Letourneau, I've said all year, like, yeah, it's not great, but I'm not calling him a bust yet. So if James Hagens doesn't have a phenomenal year at BC, his sophomore, I'm not going to call him a bust. I'll say it like it is. Obviously, I like the pick. You can tell. And if he doesn't work out someday, then I will gladly, say that. But this is the best they could do at 7. And yeah, I mean, I like, people are like, oh, give Don Sweeney credit or whatever. Like, sure, I'll give them credit for picking him, but this fell in their lap. That's how I look at it. But also credit to them for making the pick and pulling the trigger. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. The best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. The best thing, you can mix and match your player projections from different sports. Combine your favorite basketball players with players from baseball, hockey, esports, and much, much more. It also keeps baseball more interesting, more fun, enjoyable. And Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Don't miss Taco Tuesday, Flex Friday. You get Taco Tuesday, you get discounted projections on the board, usually by 15 to 25%. And Flex Friday, make sure you opt in and tap the checkbox in your lineup builder to be eligible for the protected play. Choose squares from any game on the board. And if your lineup does not win, you get your net losses back in promo funds to your promo limit as soon as the lineup settles. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Best case scenarios was that James Hagens fell to this scenario. Like, and I think I keep banging this drum, like, how hard it is to, and not the college hockey piece, but to produce when everyone expects you to produce. And right, like, you look at Will Smith when they won World Juniors, he had 9 points. Right, like, and the expectations for James Hagens was that he was going to be the number one. Right, like, I think at time of World Juniors, he was not consensus number one pick, but like expectation that he was going to be the number one pick. Like Schaefer had been playing really well. And I think a product of Hagens falling, outside of the fact that, there are, right, like he's an 18-year-old kid, there are some defensive deficiencies. He is small. I think you've seen him play so much, right? Like played at World Juniors, U18s, like has been around the block. Like everyone, expectation that he was going to have the Will Smith, or not even Will Smith, but Macklin Celebrini type year. And he didn't. And that's why he fell. Like, but World Juniors, number one center on that team. And I think, it was Leonard Perreault and him, like they led their team in scoring. Like on a team that went back to back for the first time ever. Like competing against your peers, he has a tendency to show up.
Yeah. No, he does. And again, like I've said this before, he was considering going to London instead of BC when he was looking at when the college recruitment process was going on, and he was going to kind of do the Patrick Kane route. He would have tore it up in the OHL this past year. Like I don't doubt that. And you look at the numbers he put up at the NTDP in under 18s, all those different things. They've been fantastic. So it's interesting. We have a scouting report here for James Hagens. Adam Herman, a Bleacher Report, is defining trade as his agile skating. He does have a good pace and open ice, but his standout quality is his ability to float on his blade edges. And wow, nice voice crack from me. And find pockets of space with effortless changes of direction and bursts of acceleration. Hagens can go from a full sprint to an immediate sharp pivot without sacrificing any pace. He's the player you want carrying the puck through the neutral zone to beat a conservative forecheck, and he is tough to contain in the offensive zone as he usually finds ways to scoot out of pockets of pressure. We also have Conor Ryan reacting, which I'm not surprised. Conor predicted that they would pick Hagens earlier, and with me back in October. And he also says that number 7, James Hagens, is tremendous value for a Bruins team that needs high-end skill at the center position. This... we can't say, we'll say till we're blue in the face. This fills a need. This is exactly what they needed. Yeah, it's not going to be like next season, but could it be the season after? Potentially. I still can't believe it. I can't believe that this happened. Again, I go back to what I told you right before they picked him. I was at me and Patrick Donnelly, my colleague at New England Hockey Journal. We're doing a photo shoot with James at BC for our magazine, and jokingly we were like, haha, imagine if if you end up in Boston with the Bruins, and we all laughed, like thinking like no chance, no way, and then it ends up happening. So yeah. Crazy.
It's
crazy.
What it is, he's by far your top prospect.
Anyone they would have picked. I mean, they could have picked McQueen, Merca.
Yeah.
They would have been your number one. But Hagens is.
And you're excited about. You're excited about having a high-end talent, someone that when they have the puck on their stick can make other players around them better, and opportunity to do something exciting. So I'm really excited that that's the route that they decided to go, right? In large part because you look at their roster this year, and we talked about this the last time that we were on the show. You're going to be watching a lot of 2-1, 3-2 hockey games this year, and to have someone that's in your system that not instant offense, but can create every time they're on the ice.
Yeah, DJ asks, like, you've met and talked to him. That's cool insight. Is he a cool kid? Yeah, he is. I've interviewed him 2 or 3 times. One was for a long profile I did on him in his U18 year at the program. One was in the bowels of Agganis Arena after they beat BU 9-3. This was in 2023. And then we did the photo shoot. So that was like an hour and a half, walked all around. Really nice kid. To me, like, he has sort of a, it's not like, it's good cockiness. Like, it's confidence. He has confidence. There's sort of like, I'll read a quote from John O'Connor, who was his coach at Mount St. Charles, who's now an assistant at Maine, said, if he didn't play hockey, he could be a movie star. Like, he just kind of has that charisma. And I know, like, I'm praising him like crazy and whatever, but like, he does, like, honestly, like, has that charisma, has sort of that, like, almost that swagger you want out of a top guy. And so that's how I would describe him. from the times that I've interviewed him and from that photo shoot. But yeah, I mean, really, like, I mean, this is the guy. Like, you know, that's a big get. That's a big get. So do you like you're Carl, you're a huge player development guy.
Yep.
And we've touched on it a little bit. Yeah, Court, a little fanboy. But you know what? I'm just telling you my experiences, Court. Just telling you my experiences. You're big in development, obviously. You've developed a lot of great talent. What do you want to see out of him in his second year? And what do you think what road do you think the Bruins should take in easing him in? Because as we said, he has a lot of expectations. There are high hopes. What do you hope that they do with him, the Bruins, once they get him? Whether it's after next year.
I would think. Yeah, I think probably two questions you asked there. Like, what are you hoping for from Hagens in year 2? It's really hard in the National Hockey League to make it as a pass first player. Like, that is really hard. There are few players that have been able to do that, right? Like Joe Thornton, one of the best passers of all time, right? Like Nicholas Backstrom, guys like that. I want to see in year 2 him to be more aggressive in creating his own shot, and I think you saw that a little bit in World Juniors too, right? Like too deferential to Perreault and Leonard, right? Like, so I think that's what I'd want to see at BC. That doesn't mean, right, like you talked about, like 60-70 point potential, or like he doesn't have the supporting cast that he necessarily would have had this year with Leonard and Perreault. But I want to see someone that looks to create their own shot more often. I think that's something that he's capable of doing to kind of round out that game, right? Like we've always and we've had it, right? Like pass first guys and pass first guys at times, like because you know they're not going to shoot, they can be shut down, right? So looking to attack, get their toe caps downhill, shoot, and then like as people start to honor that shot, then passing lanes that James Hagens can make even without space, right? Like now, right, like those fractions of seconds that he needs to be able to make that pass, those become available. So I think that's what I would like to see at BC next year. Be more of a goal scoring threat. I think what you would like to see at Boston, if you're not in a position where you're in a playoff push, where you right, like where you might need some added offense, like whether it be on the power play, you're probably going to put him at wing in that scenario because you're not going to ask him. All right, like if he's coming into a playoff scenario next year, you're not going to ask him to play a 200-foot game against like Sasha Barkov. Like that's not something he's going to be able to do right away. But if you're not in a playoff scenario, I'd like him to see him finish the year in Providence a little bit, like right, like some of McAvoy had done, right? Like that was quick.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was quick, but I would like him to see him play some pro hockey in Providence, maybe play their playoff scenario down there, and then come in, that following year and be in a position where he's asked to produce from a second line perspective, right? Like the people that have talked right there, right? Like the 2 spots where it would have been. There'd be more pressure than any other would have been Boston and the Islanders, right? Like the 2, right? Like where he ended up and where from his hometown. So there is added pressure on him in the sense that like people are familiar with him. You are an original 6 team. You don't need to rush it. Make sure that he's as successful as he can be at the pro game before he's ready to play in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing is like, do not rush him. Like we've talked a lot about how the core is not getting younger and they're hitting their primes. And so you do need help, but this is a guy who you're hoping you're infusing that core with, you're kind of building that next wave of talent around. I'm not rushing him. Like, if he kicks ass next year at BC and you want to see him in Boston, well, not with Boston, but with the Bruins, like at the end of next season, then fine. But, you have to play that by ear. If he has a good season next year, if he's, in the 40-point range, like, yeah, Providence would be the good spot for him. He's not huge. Like, it is going to be an adjustment. But I also do wonder, like, chip on the shoulders, legitimate thing. This is a kid who, presumptive number 1 pick for a long time, and then it fell away throughout the year. Is there, for falling to 7, is there sort of a chip on the shoulder throughout his career? And, the other thought I have is like, you think about how crappy this past season was, right? Like how just terrible the games were to watch and the lopsided losses. And you try to find silver linings. I think for Bruins fans, this is a silver lining. Like, this is a good pick. This is a really good pick. Like, you've got, that's a great pick. And that's not to say it makes last season worth it. But if he turns into like the best case, which is Jack Hughes, or if he even turns into being a Clayton Keller or a Logan Cooley, just a really solid number 1, maybe number 2 center, you're pumped. You're pumped about this.
I'm pumped.
Like, how can you not be?
No, and then it sets up, right? Like, you get Gavin McKenna next year and then Carter Meyer the year after that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You should be building, talk about a 1-2-3 down the middle. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I always say the Bruins have, the Bruins have 2 first rounders in 2027. Carter Meyer, easy. They can get Carter in that first round. I think
exactly
can make it work. We can clip this 2 years down the road that Carl and Evan picked Carter Meyer for the Bruins. For those who don't know, Carter Meyer played at Rivers. I covered him for a while. Played against Carl a number of times. Just made the national program and was their best player at evaluation camp. So should be a high-end kids from Winchester. So really, really good player. But yeah, I mean, so they take Hagens, and that's huge. We can't say it enough. We've stated what we want the Bruins to do, what we want him to do at BC. How he can fit in the lineup. I mean, next to Pasternak's not a bad place. Or next to Mitch Marner. I'll bring that back up. I'm kidding. I'm not going down that route right now. I'm not doing that. So people are asking, like, who do you have for pick 51? And I think it's pick 62 in the second. Names, I can pull up some names for you. I think the big thing is you do need a big right shot defenseman. There are a number of those guys that are going to be there. Carter Miko is one of them. Carter Miko is from here, from Maine. So that's terrific. If you want to go him, he's had some knee issues in the past. So I don't know if they want to go down that route, but there's others as well. And then I would also say, like, best available. If that's a wing, like, great. If that's a center, terrific. But that's the kind of player I'm targeting. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think at second round you go best available. Like, outside of the first round, I have no idea who might be available. But yeah, I think you would look at a right shot defenseman, someone that could replace a Brandon Carlo type. And I think if you can add to your center depth as well, I think that's an area, right? Like a potential Will Moore, right? Will Moore, right? Like a bigger center out of the national program that can play heavy, but that's a name that comes to mind for me. But that's definitely, I'm not as attuned to who the prospects that might be available in the second round.
I have some up for people who are interested and wondering about it. I'm looking at Corey Pronman's complete draft ranking. So this is not like by team, but like at 51, Theo Stocksielis from Djurgården in, I believe, Sweden. Stocksielis was quite good at the Swedish junior level this season as a top scorer on a top team. 6'2", 181 left shot center. He's a skilled big man who excels at creating offense around the net in small areas. He has shown the talent to score and generate chances at the junior level. There are reasonable questions about how his game will fare against better players. His skating isn't the best. It's actually below average, according to Corey Pronman. With a somewhat heavy stride, while he's good at using his big body to create space for himself around the net, he's not overly physical, and his off-puck compete can be an issue. He projects as a useful depth forward for a team. So that, again, like, that's the kind of player you're getting there. But The Bruins have been pretty good with second round picks in the past. Patra, low rise. So like they should get
Brandon Carlo.
Like they should get, that was really the savior of that 2015 draft for them. Yep. They should get at least one like legit lineup guy, and hopefully for their sake, a second. Again, I'm looking through right now, like in terms of defensemen, there's a guy named Mans Goos, MANS space GOOS. He's 6'5", 190. He was at the Swedish J20 level. His skating's below average, but he has an average hockey sense. So that's
not good.
Someone. That's not great, but big defenseman. There's Max Sinica. Max Sinica played with Portland this year. Sinica is an athletic defenseman. He skates very well for a 6'5" defender. His mobility and ability to make stops allowed him to play pro games at the top level in Czechia. Before coming over to the Dub mid-season, he didn't stand out at that level as some would have hoped, though. The question on Sinica will be offense. He doesn't have a ton of skill or offensive IQ in his game, although he has a good point shot and can make a decent first pass. His game's a little bland, but he's talented enough for his size to potentially get NHL games. There are a couple other big defensemen around this like range. Kurbin Lemidov from Russia. So I don't know. I mean,
the only thing I would say there,
get a big defenseman, and then get best available.
Yeah, the only thing I would say there, right? Like hockey IQ is hard to work on, right? Like you can the physical tool sets, like. And we try as hard as we possibly can at St. Mark's to like put the kids in as many situations so they can think the game for themselves. But that like it's hard. I think the one thing you would want to see is someone with high hockey IQ, because someone with a high hockey IQ, the game, right? Like regardless of the way they skate, they can move the puck and anticipate and move into those open spaces. So they play the game faster, even though they might not necessarily be physically faster. And if you're looking for someone, right, like in whatever their junior team to work on the hockey IQ when they're their team's like best players, that becomes hard. So I'm looking at someone that would be high hockey IQ and high compete. Yeah, that's someone that I want. Now, if those fit like defensive or right wing center, like sign me up for someone with high hockey IQ and high compete.
That's as good. That's awesome if you can get that. I want to also.
And they're probably not in the second round, right?
That's true. I do want to direct people. If you're watching this on YouTube, go subscribe to Bruins Ringside on YouTube. Subscribe for all our great content. Obviously, Bruins Beat, Poke the Bear, Pucks with Haggs. And if you like it, if you don't like looking at us for some reason, you just watch it via audio. Go subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And then obviously there's Celtics All Access, Patriots Press Pass on YouTube. Go subscribe there as well. And then obviously our great friends over at Prize Picks. This wouldn't be possible without them. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks also puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. App's super easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your money. And of course, Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Run your game over at Prize Picks. Matt, Matt's right. I'm fine looking at Carl, but I don't know about Evan.
Philly's going back to their identity, right? Like they want Martone and then Jack Nesbitt. Like
they take Nesbitt?
They must have traded. I thought Pittsburgh had 11 and 12.
Oh, first, right? Yeah. So Flyers got 12 and the Pittsburgh got 22 and 31. So I get what Pittsburgh's doing because Pittsburgh picked at 11 and they're like, well, we need two more. We need more first rounders. They're barren prospect wise. So I get why they did that. But yeah, Jack, you like Jack Nesbitt a lot. Like you were high on him.
Yeah, I don't think I had him in the top 12, did I? But I had mentioned him as a potential, as like that next grouping of players. You just look, right? Like you understand that it is, right? Like when you get into this scenario, I think it was right when Burke and Anaheim won in, was that 06, 07, and they were a
06,
large
07. Mm-hmm.
They were a large team, and everyone tried to copy that for a while, and right, and then things got a little bit quicker with Chicago and that stretch, and you had Duncan Keith and Kane and Taves, so everyone tried to match that. Now, like, right, like Florida's won with a 200-foot physical forechecking type of game, and I think that's Nesbitt is a player that fits that style. And Philadelphia looks like they're trying to get back to what their historical identity is, and play along the wall, win your battles, and get to the net.
Yeah. Apparently, so the Islanders draft party got really sad when James Hagens was taken by the Bruins, which is hilarious. I think it's good for him that he's not in Long Island. That's a lot of pressure, like your hometown and stuff. Like it would have been. I imagine he probably would have liked that. He said, "I grew up an Islander fan," but someone said James Hagens says on ESPN that he could play in a lot of places next year. Sounded like he said he wanted to go back to BC, but wants to talk to Bruins management first. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that clip, but it makes sense. My guess is they're going to want him to go back to BC. Like, you're not rushing that. There's no rush to get him. You have him in your backyard here. I don't think that you're doing that. I
think from a development standpoint, that would be worst case scenario, right? Like trying to have him come in and play in Boston, right? Like not for me, but right, like where he was with the number one overall aspirations, right? Like underwhelming year. Allow him to play in every scenario. I think there was a stat out there this year where he only played like 18 penalty kill shifts for the year. Allow him to play in all the scenarios for Greg Brown at BC. Like ask him to, be more of a goal scoring threat. Like you want him to learn those things at BC. You don't want to have him move up and down like Petraglia did. And not that they're the same type of prospect, but you want it to be as much as a seamless transition and learn the game at BC as opposed to trying to learn the game at, for the Bruins.
Yeah. I also like, Patra, they sort of rushed. Letourneau, not that it was their call, but went to BC before he should have been in the USHL. Take your time with this. Like, take your time, go at his pace. This is, my prediction is we look back at this and go, that's a steal at 7. That's a huge steal. And I don't blame the teams above them for not taking him. Like Nashville went Brady Martin. They want an identity. And Philly goes with Martone. They want a big guy on the wing. Like, I get that. Utah goes Desnoyers. My guess is that's going to be one we look back on and go, I don't know about that one. Going so high. I didn't initially, he was projected there, but still, like, I was sort of surprised by that now. Chicago goes Frindell, not surprising. Misa, Schaefer, like, so Hagens, like, that's it's a steal. They got lucky. It's a lot of things, but they have a guy that's a legit guy. Development camp, by the way, is next week, Monday through Thursday.
You going?
So yeah, I'll be there every day. I was going to be there no matter what, but the Hagens element is a big part of it. It's a big part.
Maybe I'll bring Fulton on Monday.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of fans. I would assume there are going to be a lot of fans there because, that's, and they're going to have their 2 seconds most likely, and you have the rest of your draft picks, but Hagens is the draw. That's a big pick, man. Like,
it's great for them.
I
think it's great for the organization. I think it's great for the fan base. I think you have someone that you are excited about that has a lot of talent, that has been productive at every level, and when he comes in and is in the Bruins lineup, he's going to be productive.
Again, you project him out. I think it's somewhere in the middle of the ceiling and the floor. I think most people are like that. But if he's your 1C with Pastrnak and whoever on the left in 2 or 3 years, that's not bad. And Lindholm potentially slides into sort of a matchup role. Because again, we're going so far in the future, but bear with me for a second. If in 3 years, let's say, he's your 1C and you're in the playoffs against Florida or Toronto or whomever, and you're home, you're probably not putting Hagens up against Barkov or Matthews or those guys. That's where maybe Elias Lindholm does come into play. where like Lindholm can take those. Now, when you're on the road, that's going to be tougher. Especially early in his career. Those are wicked matchups, but those are good learning experiences at the very beginning of his career too. So like, I see the value in that as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what they do in free agency too, right? Like you talk again about development, like having him on the power play with Pastrnak, but potentially like matchups, having him in especially early on, like having him in that third line center role where he can be creative, but not have necessarily have to do to the defensive side of things early on in his career. Like that would be great too.
Carl, it's funny, we didn't get to do playoff streams.
No.
And then when we didn't do any streams this year. We did podcasts and it was all kind of crappy things, this, that. This felt good. This felt good. This is something. This was something.
This was fun. This was as exciting as it could have been. Fell the way that, right? Like I think we said earlier, the two people that I would have been really excited about was Martone and or James Hagens. Not like, again, all young kids that certainly have things that they do really well. I just felt like, in the position that the Bruins were picking, if those two players fell to them, and when it came down to it, and Martone and Hagens, at least at 6-7, were still there, it was I got like the same thing. You got a little flutter, like Emma, obviously a lifelong Bruins fan, and you're excited for them.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is, again, I'm not a fan of the team or anything, but I'm happy that, this is what they needed. This is what they needed. I like Hagens. So let's see, matches the pasta OT goal for me in excitement. Absolutely. The Swayman rumors we can touch on another time. I don't think anything's happening with that. Dominic, I get it. It's a great topic, and we'll probably talk about that this week. But Hagens is the thing now, and we'll wrap it up now because we've been on for almost 2 hours. So, Carl, thank you for. Well, not DJ. I'm not a fan because I'm media. I can't be a fan. I grew up a Bruins fan. I don't hide that, but I have to put that to the side. I have to be a little objective. But am I excited they picked Hagens? Yeah, I am, because I think it's what they needed. And I called it also. I was excited because I kind of called it back in October as a joke, but I wanted that to actually happen. So there you go. But yeah, it's a good day for the franchise. This is a turning point. This is the start of a new era, I think, for the Bruins and for where they want to go, getting James Hagens.
Yeah, and I just for me, always exciting to see all the people that come into the chat. So thanks.
Thank you, everybody. This was fun.
Thank you.
Carl, we'll always remember. We'll have this. It's documented. It'll be on the internet forever. So yeah, that's it. That's Bruins Beat. That's Carl Corazzini. I'm Evan Marinofsky. James Hagens is a Bruin. You Bruins Beat listeners, watchers, have a great rest of your week.